So, I'm going to do a couple of demos here just to show you guys how to farm Mephisto, right? So, every time you go into Durance 2, there's a starting block, okay? So when you find the warp, there's a starting block. So this block here is pointing in this direction. Like, this direction, okay? You see how this block is like pointing in this direction? The block is facing this way. So because the block is facing this way, compass-wise, you always want to go west. West of the starting block. So it's a west-facing block, more specifically. So the block will be facing to the left of this block. However, so that means that most of the time it should be to the west of this block, but sometimes it's just facing west. I'll explain what that is in a bit here. So if I go looking for it, so right now, I'm going to go all the way to the west, but it seems like the whole map goes to the west, so it's going to be a little tougher to find it this time. But in general, you're looking for going as west as possible, maybe. I can't go down that way, so I'm going to assume maybe it's over here. I don't know. Maybe. Okay. So, I found it. So, let's take a look at the map again. Remember the direction that block was facing there. Okay? This way. So, it's facing to the west of how... You see how the map is direction? Like, it's to the west of this block, so it'd be this way. So if we go all the way to the left, sure enough, it's facing to the west. So this block here is facing to the west. It's a west-facing block, just like I said it was going to be. So there's different designs for the block. Like this one looks like this one. It's kind of got like a U shape, but it's still like facing to the west. So it's a west-facing block to whatever the starting block, to whatever direction the starting block is. So, I'll do a couple more examples so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's go. So, you can go kill Mephisto. Cool. Some deep shit. Yeah, it's deep shit, man. I'm just kidding. Okay. The Project Diablo is nice, man. Lots of quality of life, lots of awesome balance. It also looks really good, too. Not as good as Resurrected's gonna look, but it looks really good, Chemical. Alright, so let's go do it again. Let's go do it a few more times just to show you guys, you know, I'm not crazy. And it wasn't just luck finding it. Okay, there you go. Alright, so this time the starting block is facing this way, okay? So it's facing that way, okay? So it's facing this way, which means that it's going to be to the west of this block. So if it's facing this way, west or to the left of it is that way. So I'm going to go over this way. So the block is facing this way. I'm going to go to the west of it, and Shazam! What do you know? Some maps are good like this. So some maps are awesome. Some maps, you get a block that faces west, and it's like literally immediately to the left. Immediately to the west of Durance. So this is a good example here of when you get a good map here. When you see the starting block faces this way, and then you have to go west. This would be east, by the way. The other direction would be east, and that would be north, relatively speaking. You have to go to the west. So we went to the west, and we found it immediately. That doesn't always happen, though. I think counterclockwise is a bit more confusing in this means, but yeah, I mean, technically, yeah, it's it's going to be facing counterclockwise, but the block is always facing to the left, so, I mean, I don't know. I think it might be better to explain it this way. We can do some really hard examples. I can show you guys some really annoying ones, too. Might be a bit more obvious what's going on here. I want to show you guys some bad examples, though, because there's a couple examples that it still follows the rule of the block facing to the west, but it's not necessarily counterclockwise. And in some cases, you have to go like around into the back. And there's some other things that happen as well. Alright, so this one is facing this way. Okay, so this block, the starting block for the warp is facing this way. So check behind me just in case it might be behind me. A west-facing block directly behind the warp. There's not one. And then I just check. So this is one of the best maps in Durance. So if you were on single player, this is one of the maps you'd want to use if you wanted to power farm Mephisto as fast as possible. You would save this map. You would not reset your maps. This would be a map you would save, because it's this is one of the better maps where it's immediately to the left or immediately next to the warp. So I'm actually getting some nice. I'm getting some nice warps right now. Yeah, but if you go immediately to the west, if you find that west-facing block, right, the one that's immediately to the left of the warp, yeah, it's good. It's all about that west-facing block, though. And in most cases, you can just go to the west. Now, I should explain a couple other things about finding this on random maps as well. And hopefully we can get some more maps that illustrate the point. We'll see what we can get, though.
What do you need?
Ackermans. Oh yeah, another thing to note, what I should also describe here is how to find... Okay, how to find Durance 3 from the beginning of Durance 2. Let's say you just got to Durance. There's also a pretty reliable way to find the warp, and there's also a reliable way to find Durance 3. So I can do this as well. So I'm on random maps, right? So this is random maps. Even though we're on single player, random maps. Let's go kill Travancore for some fun. You know, why not? What's up, Mirage? How you doing? Hacker Man with his fast Durance. I'm not a hacker man. Not. Okay, so you see this entrance tile here? So this entrance block or tile, whatever you want to call it, I call it a block, is pointing this way this time, okay? So what you want is a block that is facing in the same direction as the entrance block. So roughly speaking, if you go straight ahead when you enter... Oh no, sorry, wait, we're in Durance 1. Okay, oops. Durance 1 is also west-facing. Okay, yeah, okay. Sorry. Okay, so you see how this block is facing to the west of that block? The block went this way, and this is straight to the left. So it's west-facing block relative to the entrance block. Okay. But that was Durance 1, though. Durance 1 works like that. Durance 2, so this block's facing this way. Roughly speaking, I want to be finding a block that is literally straight ahead from this one. Okay. So if I go straight ahead, odds are I'll find it, or I'll find it if I go to a block that is facing in the same direction. Sure enough, this block is facing in the same direction as this block. Now I had to go a little bit to the left to find it, but notice that it's literally straight ahead. So it's straight. This block's facing this way, I go this way, and then this block's facing this way, I go this way. So it's a straight facing block. Now if I go look for the warp should be over here. Now the reason I knew the warp was over here was because I know that it has to be technically east from Durance 3. So it has to be east. Just like Durance 3 is west from the warp is east from Durance 3. So, yeah. The other thing I know is that the warp, for instance, is always going to be west from the entrance of Durance 2. So, you see how that kind of works? This is a pretty typical layout right here. This layout, if you look at this right now, this is pretty typical. You see it like to the, you see this one to the west of this one, and then you see Durance 3 to the west of the warp. And of course, Durance 3 is straight ahead from 2 in some manner. At least the block is straight ahead. It's the same. It's pointing in the same direction. And this one is east. The warp is east from Durance 3. That's a very typical layout right there. Very typical layout. I can show you some more layouts too, though. Let's see. Let's see if we can find a hard one. There's some that are really stupid. Yeah, I know. I know, it's horrible to do that, Shiori. That's why we're going over it, though. What D2 vendor trades you griffs for my Mings? I don't know. Oh yeah, you still have Griffins and you have Ming Sonkin? Wow, that's pretty unlucky. H doing. Alright, so the tile is pointing in this direction again. It's pointing in this direction, which means I'm gonna go to the west. What do you know? It's right there. Some are very similar. Most of them look like this, but some of them are difficult. I really hope I can show you guys an example of something that kind of typifies something worse, because I can give you some pointers. I haven't seen any... I haven't had any, like, terrible maps at the moment. What's up, Matru? How you doing? What's up, Reckless Abandon? Tomorrow we're going to have all my trade items on the free list and torches, so if you want free items on your hardcore PD2 to finish off your PD2 Season 1, you're going to be able to take up to 5 items tomorrow, and there's going to be a lot of items on the free list. I'm in. Go to Talrosh's tomb, there you can see some stupid layouts. Oh, dude, there's bad layouts in Durance for 2, man. Durance can be really bad sometimes. Alright, let me check this one out. Okay, this is another pretty straightforward one, it looks like. This one is pointing in this direction. And then, okay, this is a good example, actually. Okay, so. Okay, this one's a little tougher. So what happened was I went straight ahead, expecting to be able to go west of the entrance tile. I was trying to get this way, but there is no this way. The whole map is wrapping around to the back, so that can mean 2 things. It could mean that I have to go a little bit to the east, and then I have to go straight ahead and then to the west. Or it could mean I actually have to go all the way around into the back, and it's like over here. It's facing to the west still, so it's still facing in that western direction, but it's like behind the warp. But I know this for sure because the whole map is not wrapping around. There's no west direction. So that tells me that this map might be a little strange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. Yep, look at that. It's wrapping over here. I'm going to test out the first theory. Alright, so the first theory was correct. So in this case, it wasn't around into the back into the west. It was, I had to go east a little bit, straight into the west. So notice how I knew this, though, based on how the map was laid out. I knew the fact that I couldn't go west and I couldn't go straight over here. And there's only 2 possibilities. That it's wrapping around and going to the west this way, or it's a west-facing map where it's down here into the west. Or if it goes all the way to the east and there's no way to go straight into the west, you have to sometimes go all the way to the east, and then you have to go to the west, and there's like a west-facing tile all the way on the top. Now, there's a couple instances of this, but... yeah, backwards maps. They're called wrapped or backwards, whatever you want to call them. A lot of them. I mean, for every map type, there's a lot of seeds. Durance has a lot of variations. Like a lot of them. There's a lot of them. But you know, like that I didn't let that deter me, the fact that the map was wrapping around to the east, because I knew that there's like some other combinations. So I still went and found Mephisto pretty quickly. That's in general kind of what you want to do. What's up, Deftness? Yeah, it's the problem with. Sounds like someone's got a vendetta, a personal one. I feel it, I feel it. Don't worry, you know, back in the day, that's how it felt to me too until I learned this stuff. It's actually not bad once you learn the maps. Alright, so this one, let's see here. This one looks pretty typical. I did check this area over here because sometimes it's like west facing, but it's like above the warp a bit. And it's to the east slightly, which is kind of weird. It wasn't over there, so it's probably just going to be to the west like normal. So the whole point is going all the way to the west of that tile there. Let's see. Yeah, so it's one of these over here. Sometimes you can't find it immediately, though. Alright, there you go. So, in this case, you had to go a little bit north into the west, but it's still a west-facing tile, which means in general, most of them are to the west somewhere. This one was just a little harder to find. Not super hard, though. Did I teleport throughout the whole Durance? No, because I have a lot of confidence in where it probably has to be. Now, in some cases, I do have to, because I screwed up. But yeah. It's important stuff, though. What's up, Deftness? Deftness, man. I'm happy, man. You installed it for the first time. It's time to get hyped for remastered, right, man? Feeling it. Let me know what character you start. Are you gonna play solo self-found, or are you gonna do like Battle.net? What's the plan? Awesome. Either way, it's awesome. Alright, let me check out like 2 more maps to see if they're actually kind of difficult. I kind of want to find one of those truly backwards maps. I haven't found one yet. Okay, this time it's pointing this way. This direction here. And we're going to go to the west of that. West-facing tile. And boom, it's right there. So as you can see, I'm not a wizard. I just kind of, you know, I know the pattern. Okay, I know the pattern. Alright. In general, that's what it's going to do. So even on random maps, you can farm Mephisto fairly quickly. It's not going to be as fast as like you're getting a god tier map on single player or something, but... Oh yeah, King Colt. That is gonna be fun stuff. Dude, the nostalgia is gonna be real for sure. Get back with your cousins and everything. A beard of knowledge guy. Is that what I look like? A beard of knowledge guy? Okay, Shiori, here's how you find Eldritch and Shank. You go to Frigid Highlands. There's Eldritch. You go to the Bloody Foothills. There's Shank. Good. I feel like I had to troll you back a little bit. Can you explain that again? Oh yeah, oh, that's right, I don't have the red portal, but if you have the red portal, you can always access Pendleskin through the red portal. next to Anya. Very, very good. Where is Pendulum? I don't have the portal because I got the Halls of Pain word. Alright, so anyway. So this tile is facing this way. Once again, we're looking for a west-facing tile, which means usually it's going to be... Most map configurations have it to the west of the actual warp tile. So it's facing this way. So it's facing in this direction. I'm gonna try to get to the west of it. Uh-oh. Alright, so this one's actually a little tougher. You see this? Well, let's explain this map here. So this one, we don't have a west again. I went all the way straight. I tried to get to the west, and there's no west, which means it's a west-facing tile somewhere. Now, on a map like this, there's there's 3 good possibilities. The west-facing tile could be... Well, let's see. It could be over here. It could be like I have to go to the east a bit and then straight ahead, like over here. Okay, that didn't happen. Oh, wait. No, it didn't happen. Okay. So, I try to go a little bit to the east and then straight ahead and then look for a west-facing tile like up here or something. But there's nothing there. Which means that now what I'm thinking is it's probably a backwards map. So I'm going to go look for that west-facing tile all the way behind the warp. So I'm going to go over here. And... Oh, let's see. No, not that one. Let's see if I can go all the way down here into the back. Nope. Okay, so... This is the most annoying kind of map, actually. I'm pretty sure I know where it is now. And this one sucks. Okay, this was where... Oh, damn. Oh, you know what? Okay, I know what happened on this map. It's probably just so the, Man, I hate when this happens, when it's like in a weird location. But I know kind of where it is in this one, I think, now. It's probably over here. Yep. Yep, okay, so... This is one of the worst maps you can possibly get. This is where Durance 3 is in the middle of the map. And the only way this happens is if for some reason... there's only a couple map generations that do this, and honestly it still messes with me. Yeah, so this is the worst configuration right here. This is one of the bad ones. Because it's not around, it's not behind the warp where it is oftentimes and to the west. It's not normal, it's not straight into the west. It's not straight into the east a little bit and then straight and then to the west. And it's also not like even all the way to the east and to the west like you might expect. Instead, it's a west-facing tile. So notice that the tile is facing in the perpendicular or opposite direction as the warp, like it should be. So it's facing to the west. It's just that it's in the middle of the map. And that's just... This is like one of the worst ones you can possibly get. Honestly, if you ever get that map, it's just fucked, pretty much. Like, no lie. Because, like... All of the common map configurations, that's one of the rare map configurations, so you don't even see it very often. You just know, though, that if it's not behind the warp and not all the way into the east and to the west, that it might be somewhere in the middle, and sure enough it was. I checked it, so that one actually takes a while to find because you're not going to expect it. It's pretty annoying. You definitely want to check for the around the back and all the way north and all the way east and to the west first before you check that, because that's a very rare map configuration. And most of the time, you know... Okay, it's pointing this way again. This time there's actually a west though, so it's probably this way. If you can ever go west of the warp at all, it's usually going to be to the west, but not always. Sometimes you end up having to go, like, north into the west. Okay, this one's kind of bad. Oh yeah, this one's really bad. Okay. This map is most likely a backwards map, actually. Yep, there it is. Okay, so... I saved a lot of time still, right? I didn't teleport throughout the whole middle here. I didn't go all the way to the east, and I didn't go all the way to the bottom. But it was still kind of tough to figure it out because the way this map worked was you could go to the west a bit, but it stopped. So you couldn't go anywhere else down here. So what that means, I had to go to the east. And since I tried to go to the east and then go up and then to the west and go look for a west-facing block over here, I noticed I couldn't do that. It just kept shooting me to the east, and then I hit a corner. If you hit a corner, just like I hit over here, if you ever hit corners or you get stuck, what I always like to check is west first, because it's a west-facing block. And then I check the east, and if I hit a corner on east, that tells me it's probably backwards. So I knew it probably was way behind the warp because I tried to teleport directly behind the warp when I got on top of it. There's nothing back there. So instead I went all the way back here and I found a west-facing block directly behind the warp. This is what it means to have a backwards map, by the way. It's not... It does take more time than a regular map to figure out because it gets you trapped in areas where it's more likely to spawn. But it's still pretty likely that something like this happens. So definitely be prepared for it at the very least. So what I did right there is I saved probably about like 3 minutes of like teleporting throughout, or like a couple more minutes teleporting throughout the whole Durance because I knew once I hit a corner and I hit the walls, it was probably backwards. Sure enough, it was. So I went all the way behind the warp into the west, or to the left.